In my opinion, one of the genres that fits Android the best is the 2D platformer, whether it's the simple classics like Super Mario or the more complex Metroidvanias with crazy combos and fast-paced gameplay, they just work incredibly well on mobile. In this video, I'm going to show you the 15 best platformer games on Android, and trust me, there are some really unique ones in here, so hit that like button and let's jump right in. Let's kick off this list with something simple and straightforward, but don't underestimate it. This game works incredibly well for anyone who loves 2D adventure platformers. I'm talking about Tiny Dangerous Dungeons. You play as Timmy, a small treasure hunter exploring a dangerous dungeon in search of a hidden prize. The game features a charming monochrome pixel art style inspired directly by the nostalgic look of the 90s Game Boy. On the Playstore, you'll actually find two versions, the original black and white edition from around 2017, which is completely free, and the remake released in 2024, fully colored, upgraded and paid. Combat is simple but satisfying, making good use of the abilities you pick up along the way, and the remake adds new bosses and more polished gameplay. All in all, it's a short, sweet and straightforward title, perfect for anyone craving that classic Game Boy feeling. Easily the most famous game on this list, this one is pretty much a classic on Android. Let's talk about Sword of XOLAN. But you play as XOLAN, a young and courageous swordsman on a mission to fight the forces of darkness and restore peace to a world overrun by evil creatures. The game offers 30 handcrafted adventure levels divided into 3 acts, each ending with a boss battle. In every stage you'll find 3 hidden villages to rescue and a secret chest that requires a well-hidden key to open. Even though Sword of XOLAN is simple, it's a very polished action platformer, perfect for anyone looking for a challenging, high-quality retro adventure on Android. This one feels like pure Gen Z energy. Why? There's chaos everywhere, tons of effects on screen, and a constant burst of action. Let's talk about Super MOMBO Quest. Right, you play as Mombo, a very strange little creature with a giant tongue, and your goal is to save Sub Rosa from the Nightmare King. The world is fully interconnected with hundreds of areas to explore. You'll need new forms and abilities to reach previously locked places and keep progressing. This is the core mechanic. In every room you have to defeat all enemies in a single combo without letting your combo bar run out. The game is often praised for its well-built difficulty curve, challenging with comparisons to Super Meat Boy and Celeste. Even though it starts off pretty simple, Super MOMBO Quest is highly recommended for action platformer fans who enjoy fast combos, exploration and a good challenge. This is one of the games I was most excited to see coming to Android, and I can say I played it, finished it and absolutely loved it. Let's talk about Skull the Hero Slayer. The Alliance of Adventurers and the Imperial Army of Caerleon launch a devastating attack on the Demon King's castle, capturing every demon, including the king himself. You play as Skull, a small and seemingly fragile skeleton who becomes the only survivor. Your mission is to fight back against the human Imperial Army, rescue the Demon King, and restore the kingdom. The skull swap system is the game's biggest highlight. Skull can remove his own skull and replace it with others he finds throughout the stages. Each skull is completely unique and works like a roguelike run, granting special abilities and powers. There are more than 90 unique skulls and over 100 items that can be combined to create countless builds. The visuals in this game are absolutely beautiful and the story is great too. Let's talk about the 2D beat 'em up River City Girls next. The game flips the classic formula. Instead of controlling the usual heroes Kunio and Riki, you play as their girlfriends, the tough no-nonsense Kyoko and Misako. After finding out their boyfriends have been kidnapped, they head out on a wild rescue mission across all of River City. The combat system is fast and fluid, letting you pull off long combos, throws, and everything you'd expect from a solid beat 'em up. There are 2 versions on the Play Store, the first game and its sequel. Both play similarly, but the second one adds the boyfriends as playable characters, and the whole experience supports local 2-player co-op, which makes everything even more chaotic and fun. Easily one of the best games released in 2025, and if you get the chance to play it, just do it. I'm sure you'll get hooked. Let's talk about Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. It's a 2.5D action platformer Metroidvania, meaning it blends non-linear exploration across a large interconnected map with intense combat and challenging platforming. You don't play as the Prince of Persia this time. Instead, you step into the role of Sargon, a young warrior and a member of an elite group known as the Immortals. He's tasked with protecting an important prince, but to do that he must cross Mount Kaf, a place filled with danger and twisted mysteries. But the real highlight here is the combat, fast, fluid and incredibly satisfying. In short, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is an exciting reinvention of the franchise, fully embracing agile, challenging 2D gameplay. Here's another beat 'em up, but this one leans much more into that old school arcade style, and that's exactly what makes it good, unique, and pretty underrated. Let's talk about Night Slashers. Now, humanity is under threat from a wave of supernatural monsters led by King Zarutz. It's up to an unlikely group of monster hunters to stop the zombie apocalypse. Your goal is simple: save the world from an invasion of zombies, vampires, werewolves, and other horrors. To do that, you have to take down everything that appears on screen until you reach the stage boss and defeat it. The remake enhanced the combat system, adding more varied combos and stronger special moves. The game gets even better when played with friends. Up to 4 players can team up and fight side by side against hordes of undead creatures. It's fast, intense arcade action where you beat up classic movie monsters, perfect for anyone who loves that retro arcade nostalgia. I'm pretty sure you've played Metal Slug at some point, and yes, there's a very well made Android version fully online. Let's talk about Metal Slug Awakening. It captures the frantic, humorous arcade gameplay that made the original Metal Slug a classic, but rebuilds it with updated visuals and new features. The game uses stylized cartoon-like 3D graphics that still pay respect to the original pixel art charm. The iconic arsenal of special weapons is back, along with the famous super vehicles, tanks, armed camels, and other machines you can pilot to unleash chaos on the battlefield. You can team up with up to 3 players online to take on tougher bosses and challenges, and this time the game features several different playable characters. Metal Slug Awakening is the franchise's attempt to blend that explosive old-school nostalgia with modern 3D visuals, and honestly, I think they nailed it. Now we finally get to something completely different and pretty unknown, but trust me, it's a really interesting one. Let's talk about Mental Haze. This game fits solidly into the first-person survival, horror, and puzzle category, focusing much more on psychological tension than cheap jump scares. It stands out for building an oppressive atmosphere, often using darkness, ambient sounds, and sudden visual shifts to create fear and pressure. Like many psychological horror games, the protagonist has no weapons. Your only options are to run, hide, and solve whatever is causing the terror around you. Mental Haze on Android delivers an intense mix of first-person survival, horror, and puzzle solving. It's perfect for anyone looking for a chilling, nerve-wracking experience. Here's another game that comes straight from classic consoles but now has its own Android version, and it blends the old and the new extremely well. Let's talk about Mega Man X Dive. The story takes place inside a digital archive where all the memories and data from the Mega Man X series are stored, but the deep log becomes corrupted, causing the heroes and classic stages to malfunction. The gameplay is exactly what fans expect from Mega Man X: running, jumping, wall clinging, firing your buster, and using special abilities. And here's the biggest highlight: you can play as almost any character from the X, Zero, ZX series, and even the classic Mega Man lineup. The game also has an interesting twist. It was originally designed to be fully online, but Capcom later changed direction and now it's completely offline. I even remember when it had co-op modes and PvP, though I'm not entirely sure how those features stand today. We already talked about Super MOMBO Quest, but now let's look at another game from the same developer, and these guys really know how to make great 2D titles. Let's talk about Leah Hacking. The story is told through simulated documents, emails, and chat logs, making reading and gathering clues essential for progress. A tiny spoiler I can give you: you're one of the few hackers capable of taking down the robots that will take over the world. The gameplay is fast, smooth, and addicting, perfect for anyone who enjoys intense combat and quick action. It also has strong replayability, varied maps, different builds, permanent progression. There's always a reason to jump back in and try something new. Since it's a roguelite, it may not appeal to players who prefer a strong linear narrative or less repetition, but its gameplay is absolutely wild. This is one of the most unique 2D games you'll ever see, mainly because it's actually a strategy game. Let's talk about Kingdom New Lands. You play as a monarch, either a king or a queen, arriving in a new and unexplored land. Your goal is to build a prosperous and safe kingdom, but above all, to survive. Your movement is limited to left and right. There are no complex menus or cluttered interfaces. Your only form of interaction is spending coins. You use coins to recruit villagers, build walls, raise towers, and expand your territory. But when night falls, demonic creatures known as the Greed attack. They'll try to steal your coins, and if they manage to take all of them, they'll snatch your crown, and that's game over. Kingdom New Lands is a 2D experience focused on RTS and tower defense, but it's completely different from anything you'd see in modern strategy games. This is one of the most addictive games on this entire list. Once you figure out how to play, it's almost impossible to stop. Let's talk about Katana Zero. play as Subject Zero, an assassin with amnesia who works for a mysterious organization. He carries out targeted kills and then reports back to his therapist. The story is engaging and non-linear. Zero is stuck in a cycle of violence and therapy, but he slowly begins to see flashes of his past and uncover the truth behind the drug known as Chrono. Zero dies from a single hit. That means every stage is a fast-paced action puzzle that you need to execute perfectly. Katana Zero is highly recommended for players who enjoy challenging action games with strong visual style and a gripping story from start to finish. It's easily one of the best on this list and one of my personal favorites. This is one of those games that's getting harder to find on the Playstore these days. It hasn't been updated much, but you can still play it. Let's talk about JACKQuest. Play as Jack, a young adventurer whose girlfriend Nara is kidnapped by the orc villain Korg. During the rescue attempt, Jack discovers a magical talking sword named Kira. With Kira in hand, Jack gains new combat abilities, but the sword also carries a curse and has a personality of its own, becoming both a sarcastic companion and your main weapon throughout the journey. The game is simple when it comes to story and even gameplay, and while it's technically a Metroidvania, it leans heavily toward action and boss fights, demanding quick reflexes and good control over Jack's movement. It's a short, classic-style platformer, and honestly, that's what gives it its charm. Let's wrap up this list with a really interesting game, a fresh release with a powerful story called INMOST. The most striking thing about INMOST is the way it tells its story. The game follows 3 different characters in what seem like separate narratives, but everything slowly weaves together over time. You play as the knight with a more combat-driven, action-focused style, the wanderer whose gameplay leans toward puzzles and platforming, and the girl whose section feels almost like a narrative adventure. INMOST is a relatively short experience, around 3 to 5 hours, but it leaves a strong impact. It's perfect for players who enjoy mature storytelling, narratives that encourage reflection, and a unique visual atmosphere, even if the gameplay is slower and more atmospheric than action heavy. And that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and stick around for more awesome content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.